this year, obviously, was Kendrick Lamar. I think they need to make a rule. It has to only be women performers, I think. I
Go
feel
on.
like Kendrick Lamar, and we'll talk about his performance, upset the deal. Like there was an arrangement that people who weren't really into football were down to eat snacks and have a couple beers or whatever. And their reward was that they would get to see some sort of iconic diva at halftime.
Madonna,
Like,
Katy
okay,
Perry, MIA.
MIA is going to be there. Great, I'm in. Like, I don't care about this thing, but I will get some snacks, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to get to see Mother. Queen is going to be there, and I'm going to yell Mother a bunch of times. And it was outreach to different demographics, whether it's women or gay men. They were like, we get our moment, and it's halftime. I threw enough parties for Super Bowls, and people would be there. And hey, only here for halftime. I'm here to watch Prince, whoever it was. Kendrick Lamar is not only not a big enough artist, but he's also
hits.
too close. Yeah. He's also too close to the demographic of people who really like football, which is like young men or men in their 40s, young-ish men, young, older men. Yes, but
It's my feed, my social media feed was full of 40-year-old men being like, "Oh, the old people hate Kendrick." I'm like, no, the old people love Kendrick. And the 14-year-old, the bar mitzvah crowd loves Kendrick. My friend DJ the bar mitzvah a couple weeks ago had to play a lot of Kendrick. That's why I said that. Hilarious. Kendrick,
I'm with you. I was mostly meaning from like the perspective of youth being not that young.
Yeah. I mean, Kendrick, don't Google how old Kendrick is because he's not 28. And he doesn't really have hits except for this monster. He's a well-respected artist, tons of great awards and albums that people love. To Pimp a Butterfly came out 10 years ago. So he is like one of the legacy artists. But, his diss track with Drake was a hit. Squabble Up, kind of a hit, but we're not talking on the level of like J Balvin or Bad Bunny or like my favorite Super Bowl halftime performance, J-Lo and Shakira, the best. Like I was watching that in a crowded room and everyone was like, why does this room feel like a party? Like this is an unrelenting good vibe. And last night felt I was thinking about this and I kind of put it on my feed. It's like Kendrick is an artist that needs wall text. So you see his artwork and you're like, okay, tell me more. And then there's an essay that goes with it. Like, this is the backstory. This is his identity. This is what he's trying to convey to you within this artwork. And you're like, that makes sense. I love it. With the contract of being a pop star and playing halftime, it's sort of an artwork that has to make sense viscerally on some level. Jeff Koons, Basquiat, Warhol. You see it and you're like, that's really cool. Do I need to read about it? Eventually, but in the moment, present in the moment, this is really cool to be around. Kendrick is not that artist. So you need to know, it's like, ooh, that was a dig. That wink was a dig to a Canadian artist who reigned supreme on the charts for 2 decades, and he took him down as he was declining. You need to know this because Serena Williams doing a crip walk is loaded because she was associated with this one artist that he's obsessed with. And she also was a tennis champion who had trouble with her identity. And this is a really powerful gesture. But I'm like, but she doesn't look like she's a dancer. It's like, yeah, and the dancing's not important. She's not very good at it, maybe. But like, she was one of the great athletes of a different sport. And it is too much. Kendrick appeared in the Dr. Dre ensemble at a Super Bowl. And like in comparison, that was wonderful. It was beautiful. Shout out to Mike Kelly's artwork reference. And 50 Cent showed up like a vampire hanging upside down. There was a rhythm to it that was very enjoyable and fun and could have gone on longer. Kendrick rapped so well. He's so good at rapping. It's just a bunch of wall text and words.
Yeah, I was thinking since Jay-Z came in to sort of help rehab the NFL's image issues following Kaepernick taking a knee and getting blackballed from the league, he's made an emphasis on trying to basically get rappers into it. This is what someone like Jay-Z would do when he is thinking about himself performing at a Super Bowl in the future at some point. It's like,
What would Jay-Z
just
do? Marina
would be
Abramovich,
good.
come down.
Some
The artist is
rappers.
present. Yeah.
Yeah, I think rappers should be part of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
Picasso
it has, in some way, diminished from that duality that the Super Bowl had. You get to watch guys knock each other senseless, and then Mother is going to perform. And it's like, no, this is Jay-Z, like, inflicting his personal taste on, like, because he probably wants to perform at a Super Bowl. So he's there like, okay, we're going to have Dre and Snoop and Eminem and this LA montage. And then we're going to bring Kendrick back in 2 years to Super Bowl LIX, whatever it is, LIX. And Kendrick is back and he's performing. And this time, the crown jewel of this performance is going to be the song where he calls another popular rapper a pedophile. And you're like,
oh, I thought that was about Baby Jordan, Harold Miner. A minor? I like Harold Miner. He's a cool
like,
player.
That's not Mother. And I know, and he's got it's too dorky, but he also has this huge fan base that is really active on Twitter, and they love him and what he represents. That he is this lineage to going back to, like, the values of the hip hop temple, of lyrical skills and artistic integrity and authenticity. And Kendrick is the torchbearer for these concepts, despite the fact that his music doesn't really do that. But he references things and is a nod to these ideas of, like, craftsmanship and being, just being an authentic artist. And I think he is that, and he's really talented and he's good at what he does. But to you were saying before, that doesn't really mean anything if you aren't a fan of his work. So you saw on one side, there were people saying, this is spectacular, this is so great. Then you had people saying, well, I just hate rap, so I didn't like that at all. Like, I just think he's not a musician. He doesn't even play a guitar. Like, where's his piano? So you just had, conservatives who were automatically opposed to Kendrick. And I'm sort of like, I'm just sort of in the middle here. I'm like, yeah, he's a good artist. Yeah. And if you set aside the obvious quality of his performance and the values of, like, what the Super Bowl can bring to the table in these kind of performances, like the budget, the choreography, all these things, did a great job. And then you're left with the main part of this was people saying A minor. We just went through this at the Grammys. This was the biggest song of the last year. Like, we're sick of hearing it. And this coronation of this diss song against fucking Drake being, like, the biggest moment of the Super Bowl performance, it's bullshit. It's too little. It's not enough.
It's little, and he gets Pulitzers, and he is critical safety everywhere. There's no risk of going wrong critically with Kendrick Lamar. He is corporate, he's packaged, he's made for the Super Bowl. Sadly, it's not what people want. And, like, when we were teased, like, special guest, I was like, let it be Creed. Let them come down with, like, some aerial dancers. Or, like, remember his really wonderful, like, gang party, like, at the record release, I believe? And you had DeMar DeRozan there. You had Crumpers there. You had people.
Oh, that was the live show in LA that he did.
Yeah, around the release of his album, I believe. But that was wonderful. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool if it was like a hardcore show where everyone kind of came up on stage. That would be wonderful. That didn't happen. American flag imagery, Outkast did that. Okay, that's fair. That tension is really mild, like sort of like Eminem saying fuck Trump, like, doesn't really bite the same way in 2025. I was hoping for a bunch of things. I was hoping for Drake to come up and them squashing it, maybe. That would have been incredible. Can Taylor quickly come up on stage with a mic and, like, ad-lib and maybe, like, hype man him a little? That would have been incredible. She's in the building. We got none of that. We got Serena Williams crip walking and dancing and we got Samuel L. Jackson in custom Bodhi.
That's right. Well, one of the things about Kendrick that he has a certain power to act as, some would call it a Mapo mirror.
No,
Some people would say that.
Hmm.
That people see what they want in Kendrick.
That's right.
So, and he's pretty cagey and aware of this. So when he comes out there and he brings out Samuel L. Jackson dressed up as an Uncle Sam, and he kind of presents this idea of that his appearance is meaningful, that this means something, and this is also slightly dangerous and revolutionary. Like, this is a big moment for the
revolution
NFL
will be televised. Like, no,
right. And it's like, but what do you actually stand for, though? And I'm not. He doesn't really tell us particularly.
he's a Jaylen Brown.
Well, he's kind of right. That's what I'm saying. He's kind of a cipher. It's like if you wanted to get up there and be like, "All right, America, it's time to talk about a scientist. His name is Yakub. It's high time we talk about what happened in them there mountains. Let's do this."